starting out just like Japan did. No different. And they will, they will get better. That may not bode well for U.S. jobs and the like, but China will get better at manufacturing things simply because the world is going to demand it. Whether or not their government forces them to or not. The world is just going to demand that their product, their customer service, their quality, world is just going to demand that it gets better and meets the world standards. Last night I got a chance just to sit back and do nothing and relax and watch a little bit of TV. So I caught 2 movies. No, not on Netflix, on Hulu, actually. A couple of movies on Hulu. Now they were, well, one of them had been on Netflix, but I don't think it's on Netflix now, but it was on Netflix, and I just didn't have time to see it. But the second movie that I saw was one of those, male testosterone types of movies, like that's akin to 300. The new Hercules movie with The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. It was Now, obviously, they took some liberty with the story or legends of the demigod Hercules, but all in all, it was an entertaining movie, but it didn't explore certain aspects as much as you thought that they probably could have or should have, like the shadows that he had of memories that he had of his family being slaughtered. There really wasn't no crescendo for that. There was this small whimpery type of buildup that we kind of thought, well, maybe this is. You kind of got the feeling, well, maybe this is, Hercules, this is the reason why he's out there. It's because of these shadows. But they don't seem to be all that powerful because they don't come up very often. And in the end, when the whole shadow thing comes to fruition and it's not just a shadow, but it's reality, it's kind of anticlimactic. But all in all, it was an entertaining flick. I would recommend it. I'd give it 3.5 out of 5 stars. I'd recommend other people seeing it. As I said, it was an adrenaline rush. Women, if ladies like that type of stuff, you're going to like this movie. Well, I guess The Rock is eye candy anyway for you. So and as far as I could tell, really, for guys and girls, there was no other eye candy in the movie. The only eye candy was Dwayne Johnson, right? Yes. Other than that, it wasn't a movie that was, visually striking, as it were, but it was entertaining. And if you like that type of genre, if you like that adrenaline rush, male or female, but mostly male, I know, like the movie 300, you're going to like this movie. Plain and simple. I did. I like 300. I love the movie 300. Every time I get pumped up every time I watch him. He's like, arr, arr. That's what we should use. We should be playing the movie 300 every time we send our military into battle. You want to talk about a bunch of guys that are going to be hyped up, that are going to absolutely destroy the enemy? You give them 300 and say that you were now one of the 300. Man, they're probably going to be hyped. They're going to be pumped. You're not going to be able to defeat an army like that. How can you defeat 300 against 1 million? How are you going to defeat an army like that? It's not. They're very difficult to do so. The first movie that I saw, it was been on my list to catch up and watch all summer long. Actually, when it first appeared on Netflix, I just didn't have the time to get around to it. But I did. Now, for those of you who are new, you ecclesiastites know what I'm doing here. But for those of you who are new to the program, and we have some new stations that are coming on, new networks that are coming on, and I'm actually, I'm holding off on really introducing all the news stations and everything, because don't forget that in January, I do believe the date is January 5th or 6th. January 6th, I think, is the day that we launch the 3-hour morning show of the Rod Eccles Show. We grow the 3 hours and we go from 7 p.m. start time. It's from 7 p.m. to start time at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, 9 to noon. January 6, 2016. We're going to start the new year hitting it hard, folks. So you're going to want to be here. Tune in. Get the replays if you can't tune in live, but you're going to want to turn it up at work. We're working on looking into an app. Yes, we're looking into an app. I don't know how to make apps. I really don't. I don't know if I need to learn how to do it. Some people tell me it's really complicated. Some people say it's not complicated. But the issue isn't whether or not developing the app is going to be hard to develop. I don't think it is. But there are two issues with it. How much is it going to cost? And two, can we get it on into the apps? How else can we get it? Get it to people. Can we get it to the App Store? Is Apple and Google App Store is going to accept this? We're looking into this type of stuff right now. So hopefully in the first quarter of next year, we will have an app. So you'll also be able to listen to the show off the app. So hold on. I know some people have mentioned it. We're a growing program here. So just hold on. We're trying to get everything that we possibly can done as quickly as we can. But at the same time, we want to make sure that we do it right. I don't want any secondhand kind of garbageola here. We're only doing things first class. So we're trying to get it. We're making sure that we get all our, T's crossed and I's dotted and all that kind of stuff, making sure that it's done right before we bring it to you. Because after all, you're the one that's going to be using it. We want you to be happy to use it, willing to use it. We want you to be able to share it with other people. So it, again, spreads the show around. But that's why we try to do things as big as we possibly can, as well as we possibly can, which is why we're going to 3 hours, and on Monday, morning show 9 to noon, because evening shows are just a little bit tougher. For one, and two, I just don't. My time is like getting really ridiculously cramped, so it frees things up by having it. It's a perfect time. Because you get me before you get. I mean, think of this. Your entire day is all set for you. You want to get some true, mostly conservative leaning talk and entertainment all day long, Monday through Friday. 9 to noon, you have me. Noon to 3, you got Rush, and in many markets, 3 to 6, you got Hannity. You can't ask for anything better than that. That's a good 9 hours of wonderful conservative leaning stuff. You can't. I mean, that's your work day. That'll make your work day fly like that. By the way. So anyway, but if you have not tuned in before, if you're new, then you don't know what I'm doing when I'm bringing up all this movie stuff. Ecclesiastites know. So all I'm going to say to you newbies is that you hold on, you stay with me here, because I am making a point, and it is usually a very logical and enlightening point. Now, the first movie that I saw, the two last night, like I said, the second movie was Hercules, and I just watched it for pure entertainment value. But the first movie that has been on my list ever since I noticed it was available on Netflix, and I have Netflix and Hulu and some other stuff, but I haven't had time or chance to really, because it was nearly a 3-hour movie. And I just didn't have the time. And then when I did have the time, I just didn't feel like sitting in front of the TV for 3 hours watching a single movie. Kind of like having to go through Lord of the Rings. Now, Lord of the Rings is different. One of my favorite all-time movies. But, The Hobbit, I haven't bought any of the Hobbit movies on DVD yet. Because as good as they weren't the Lord of the Rings. And each one of those movies is about 3 hours long. And I don't know if I want to sit through 3 hours of the Hobbit stuff. But it's the same thing with this movie, which is Transformers: Age of Extinction. Now, it's nearly a 3-hour movie. And, it had some wonderful action sequences. And I mean, it's a Michael Bay production, basically. So you got to like Michael Bay, I guess. He's done what else is he's done a bunch of stuff. He's big explosions, big action, that kind of larger than life kind of stuff. Visually striking type of, you got giant biological robots, basically, what the Transformers are, doing tumble rolls across and the ground doesn't shake, but they're doing these tumble rolls to avoid being shot at and everything. And they don't disturb anything around them. And oftentimes they do this stuff in slow motion. And there's my problem with the movie is that there are a lot of, when you're in war, a lot of innocent people do die, but a lot of innocent people in their cars were totally obliterated by the battles. But a lot of slow motion stuff, which, is visually exciting. It's visually appealing. It's not realistic at all the way a lot of these scenes happen, even if they were at full steam, full speed. I know not realistic. But you don't watch a movie for realism. Well, unless you're, going to see one of those boring Oscar-nominated things that people often say that they like to go and see. But for action movies, it's, of course, you're not out there to look at something that's going to be realistic because, I don't like in Hercules, there is a particular character, just in case you haven't seen him, I'm not going to tell you who. There's a particular character in the movie, not Hercules, obviously, that is he's shot like 7 or 8 times with arrows, and yet he's still fighting. Now, I don't think that's really realistic to get 6 or 7 arrows pumped into your torso, your core area, and in your chest, and you're still able to fight. Even if you're on heroin, that's going to be pretty tough. That is going to be pretty tough to keep going. Adrenaline, I know adrenaline can do some great things for people, and then when the adrenaline rush is gone and the adrenaline is spent, then the body realizes, uh-oh. But I don't think being shot with 6 or 7 arrows in the torso, upper body, core area is going to allow you to continue to fight. Maybe 1 or 2. But I don't know about that many. But so that's not realistic. I guess maybe if you're a very large person, it might be. But this person is not very large. He was not very large. But in the age of extinction, you had, if you haven't seen it, it's been out long enough if you wanted to see it, you probably should have seen it by now. I'm not going to give away the end. Don't worry, I'm not going to be a spoiler. But you have to understand that in this movie, Optimus Prime is ever the wise alien biological robot. I don't know what they're actually called. I think they said so in the movie what they were actually called, but they're living robots basically. And they're able to do some neat and interesting things. Obviously, again, not very realistic from our current technological standpoint. But ever the wise alien robot, alien life form, ALF, not the TV show ALF. That was hilarious. But ever the wise alien life form in Optimus Prime. And Optimus, for a while there, did not live up to his name. And I'm not talking about ultimate, optimal, Optimus, optimal. But Optimus as in uplifting. But he was making some very good points about that. And these types of points are very important for people. Often you get movies like this that have this sense of something that's bigger in real life than that's in the movie. And the movie is kind of like a mirror on society. And when we get back, I'll explain it further.